Welcome, dear students. In this video lecture, we will read and discuss about lesson number 1, The Summer of the Beautiful White Horse from your book Snapshots. The Summer of the Beautiful White Horse is written by William Shakespeare, who was an American dramatist and author. He was awarded the Pulitzer Prize for Drama and also Academy Award for Best Story for the film adaptation of his novel, The Human Comedy. He was an Armenian American who extensively wrote about the Armenian immigrant life in California. Some of his well-known works are The Time of Your Life, My Name is Aram, and My Heart is in the Highlands. Before we proceed and read about the lesson, there is a short history about Armenia and the Georgian family. Armenia is a tiny nation between Georgia on the west and Azerbaijan on the east, and the Georgian family, probably a fictitious Armenian family, who was once famous for its honesty but at present is struggling under poverty. This entire lesson revolves around the base of an honest tribe, an honest family, and a poverty-stricken though but still honest. This narration or the lesson is the inevitability of change that challenges traditions and long established beliefs. The Georgian tribe was always known for its honesty, and still the older generations of the impoverished tribe uphold their trademark honesty. But the new ones are no more ready to pretend. This lesson is about two young boys, Murad and Aram, who take a decision to fulfill their dream, their childhood dream, not considering the long established beliefs of the family of the Georgian tribe and taking it forward to break the trademark honesty and do something unexceptional and unaccepted by their family. Murad, who was a young boy of the Georgian family, steals a white horse that belonged to a farmer, John Byron. Now, believing that this act of using someone's horse was not stealing, because the intention behind this stealing was only to ride the beautiful white horse in order to fulfill their childhood dream. Now, Aram and Murad, both of these boys, who were also cousins, knew this for sure, that because their families were poverty stricken and they could not and could never be able to afford a horse on their own, hence they continue taking rides on this beautiful white horse, who was a stolen one. It was summer with daybreak just around the corner, and Aram could not believe what he saw. Murad was sitting on a beautiful white horse and invited him for a ride. Aram had always longed to ride a horse, especially a white horse. But as I said, they were poor and poverty-stricken people. They could never afford a horse. Aram was having a hard time believing that perhaps the horse was stolen, and he did confirm it with Murad if he had stolen the horse. And Aram was sure that the horse was stolen because the family was so poor that they had no money to afford a horse. In fact, the conditions were so bad that nobody could understand where they ever got enough money to feed their bellies. But most important of all, they were famous for their honesty. They had been famous for their honesty for something like 11 centuries. They were proud first, honest next, and after that, they believed in right and wrong. None of them would take advantage of anybody in the world, let alone steal. So Aram knew Murad couldn't have bought the horse, but then he must have stolen it, and he refused to give up on the idea of riding this beautiful horse because this has been in his fancies and imaginations since childhood. Both Aram and Murad fancied their days thinking of riding a beautiful white horse. And then Aram thought that stealing a horse for a ride was not the same as stealing something like money. For him, it wasn't stealing if one was crazy about horses like them. It wouldn't have been stealing unless they offered to sell the horse. And because their intentions were pure, just to ride that beautiful white horse, Aram and Murad together decided to continue riding the stolen horse. While this fun ride went on, the owner of the horse, John Byron, had already complained about his lost horse to Aram's parents. There is one more character of Uncle Khosrow who was an enormous man. He had a powerful head of black hair and largest moustache in the valley. He had a furious and irritable temper. He was so impatient that he stopped anyone from talking by roaring. "It is no harm, pay no attention to it," was his signature statement. Even when John Byron had complained about the lost horse, Uncle Khosrow would say, "One, it is no harm, pay no attention to it." But for a farmer like John Byron, it was a big loss of losing a horse. But these little ones and these young boys did not even bother and thought of anything but continued their riding of the horse. There were certain troubles that they faced. Murad had kept this horse already with himself for certain weeks. For several weeks, the horse had been hidden by him, and he used to practice. Now when he could ride it progressively and nicely, and there was a tuning and a bond created among the horse and Murad, he has now got up with the same horse to Aram to give him a chance as well. Aram also wanted to ride the horse, but Murad was not sure whether he would be able to ride the horse all alone. But they did give it a try. After Murad rode the horse alone, it was Aram's turn. Aram leaped on to the back of the horse and for a moment felt a fear like no other. He kicked into the muscles of the horse. The horse again reared and snorted. It started leaping over the pines. It leaped over several and more than 7 vines, and then Aram fell. The horse almost got lost into the vineyards and later on was found back by Murad. This practice and this situation was there with almost every day. Every day these boys would get up. Murad would take a ride first and then will give Aram a chance, and Aram again would always fall down and the horse would start running away. And they decided to take this horse into the deserted vineyard and keep it there safe till the time they were actually able to fulfill their dream of riding this beautiful white horse and were able to satisfy themselves with the enough of the rides. And for around 6 months, this horse was there with Aram and Murad. And they would, every morning, they would get up, go along for the ride. The horse would run away, Aram would fall down, kept on happening. And finally, they decide to return the horse. When Aram had told Murad about John Byron and his complaint, Murad ignored it first, and the horse ride progressed. But one day, while taking the horse to its hiding place, the boys stopped, shocked at the sight of the desperate farmer, John Byron, coming against them. So they had been already thinking of returning this horse, but being a little greedy in order to fulfill their dream and in order to cherish their moments and have great rides, they never tried to return this horse. And one day they were anticipated and they had this meeting with John Byron. Aram was a boy who was quite sure of what he was doing. He was satisfied somehow that he got a chance to actually ride the horse, which he always used to fancy earlier. But somewhere in his heart, he had this conscience who always pricked him up to tell him that they were riding a stolen horse. But of course, their intentions were never wrong. They only had this intention behind the stealing, that they wanted to ride the horse. And every morning they would practice riding the horse. And one morning they were on their way to the vineyard when they encountered John Byron. John Byron inquired about the name of the horse with them, and Murad said that it was My Heart. The name of the horse was My Heart, according to Murad. The farmer at once could recognize the horse. He knew that the horse was the same that was stolen. That means the horse was his horse. So he looked into the horse's mouth and found that the teeth matched those of his stolen horse. But he said that he could swear that the horse was his if he did not know their family background. That means that if he did not know that the boys belonged to Garaglanian family, he would have believed and knew that the horse was his. But because the fame of their family for honesty was well known to John Byron, he thought that this particular horse was the twin horse of the stolen horse. Hearing this, the two boys felt extremely guilty for their act of stealing. Because the irony here is this, that the Garaglanian family was known for several centuries for their honesty, for their goodwill, for no cheating of any kind. But these two boys went on stealing a horse just to give themselves a happy ride, to fulfill their childhood dream. When John Byron had told them that he could swear that the horse was his if he did not know their parents and the fame of their family. This led the boys felt shameful and guilty of their act. And early the following morning, they took the horse to John Byron's vineyard. The dogs followed them silently. Aram thought that they would bark. Murad said that he had a way with dogs, and he would say this for everything. And Murad is also compared for his characteristics and traits with Uncle Khosrow, who was a strong-haired man and quite arrogant and rude in his behavior, very confident and very specific with what he would do and say. So Murad said that he had a way with dogs, and that's why they didn't bark. They still did not have the courage to go and confront in front of John Byron about their act, so they thought of leaving the horse silently at the vineyard. And Murad pressed his nose into the horse's nose, patted it, and then they went away. So this young boy was already in affection, so much in affection with the horse, that they both had this bond together already formed, and they both touched their nose together, patted the horse, Murad patted the horse, and then they left. That very afternoon, John Byron came to the narrator's house with a happy face and with a brilliant smile on his face that his horse had become stronger and better in temperament. He broke this news to the narrator's family that he has got the horse back, and now the horse seems to be stronger and better in his temperament, which means that Murad had actually helped the horse in getting stronger and better in his temperament. But the entire lesson is about two aspects of one family. A, it was known for its goodwill and honesty, and B, that the two young boys of the same family did not even for once thought that their family belonged to something which is known for centuries: honesty, pride, goodwill, no cheating, nothing at all, no wrongdoings. But they still, Murad stole the horse, and Aram actually supported his stealing, because the intentions of the boys were to ride the horse, because they were sure that they will never be able to afford one. Now there is this flow chart of the summer of the beautiful white horse, where the background is about, the story is set against the backdrop of an Armenian Garagalian tribe settled in the San Joaquin Valley in California, from where the author himself belonged. Even though they were impoverished, they are still known for their honesty, and the two young boys' love for horses prompted them to steal a horse to ride and have fun with it. The characters are here: Aram, Murad, Uncle Khosrow, and John Byron and his horse. What are the themes? Of course, honesty and honor of a tribe. Then, the zeal to live up to one's family's reputation even in the face of challenges like poverty, like no one except of Aram and Murad had done anything wrong. And inevitably of change, that challenges traditions and long established beliefs, because these two boys were actually rebellious enough to break the already established beliefs of the tribe or the family. Redemption through one's actions. And generosity can solve most disputes. Conflict between the urge to have fun and that of living up to the expectations of others, which the two boys were great examples of. They did realize by the end of the lesson that the act that they committed was actually wrong, and hence they decided to leave the horse back. But of course, there was this urge to have fun as well as living up to the expectation of their family. There is this climax that the boys were able to take the horse to the deserted vineyard where they kept it, and then they came back. And the boys realized the consequences of their actions and bade farewell to the horse and returned it to Byron's barn. But what if they had not accidentally met John Byron? The question here arises that they might have continued getting rides on that beautiful white stolen horse, or if not that, that maybe one day their conscience would have made them compelled to return the horse. But the boys were so far not in mood at all to return the horse. And only because they had met John Byron accidentally, they somehow felt ashamed of what they did and were guilty of their action, and hence they decided to return the horse. Thank you.